In the symphony of life, every being has its part to play, every piece of the world in harmonious array. But among various realms where existence finds its voice, many have gone silent without freedom of choice. As each beat echoes fainter and balance starts to sway, the remaining must rally to keep chaos at bay. The journey demands resilience, as much will be faced. But without their effort, what will be heard, filling the space?
Flight attendants, prepare for landing.
My name is Ella Marcil. I grew up on the island of Kauaʻi. I left for college to pursue a career in filmmaking at the University of Cincinnati, but I'm returning home to Hawaii for spring break because of an emergency call. The ʻAkikiki, a Hawaiian honeycreeper, is about to go extinct, and I've been asked to document the remaining individuals. I've got no time to waste, and I'm on my way to meet up with the team.
Very nice to see you. Yeah. How was your flight?
Long. It was very long, but I'm happy to be home again.
Cool.
Yep.
The ʻAkikiki is a honeycreeper species unique to the island of Kauaʻi, Hawaii. Characterized by its small size and muted gray and white plumage, it stands in contrast to the vibrant colors of other Hawaiian forest birds. For millions of years, these small birds have played a vital part of the natural environment as insect population controllers, allowing trees to flourish. But the ʻAkikiki now faces threats such as habitat loss and introduced predators, pushing them towards extinction.
Once again, thank you so much for picking me up.
Of course. I'm glad you made it safe. Sorry it was a long flight, 12 hours is brutal, but...
Yeah, no, at this point it's just coffee and adrenaline keeping me going. But it's not over yet. We still gotta go to Hawaii Forest Bird Recovery Headquarters. How's your week been?
It's been great. The weather has been a little bit interesting, a little crazy.
Recently, a family of ʻAkikiki has been discovered. They are referred to as the Pele Nest, and videographer Graham and I are set to hike tomorrow to find them. The nest is located in the Alakaʻi Plateau, next to Mount Waialeale, one of the wettest spots on Earth.
Hopefully it'll be decent weather when we head up there. But the wind's been out of the west-southwest, so it's definitely not usual.
Global climate change has modified the weather patterns of many regions of the world, and Kauaʻi is no exception. Just a few years back, Kauaʻi set a national record of 50 inches of rainfall in a 24-hour period. The weather over the last few days has been unusually windy, causing heightened concern among the team for the safety of the Pele Nest. As we make our way towards Hanapepe, where the Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project headquarters are located, I'm reminded of the island's unique flora and fauna. Hawaii has over 10,000 species found nowhere else on Earth. For more than 70 million years, the evolution of new species vastly exceeded losses due to extinction. However, after the arrival of humans to the islands roughly 1,000 years ago, numerous extinctions have occurred, and many more species are threatened. As a result, Hawaii is now referred to by many as the extinction capital of the world.
One, it's upsetting to lose species that haven't even been described by science or named by science. It's even more upsetting to lose species just that, no one's ever photographed, no one even knows existed in the first place. So I'd like to focus on those marginalized, underrepresented species, very much like the ʻAkikiki, a little gray bird that doesn't get a whole lot of love, Little gray birds don't often make the cut.
The ʻAkikikis are very cute.
They are incredibly cute.
I'll start you out with looking at the map of one of our field sites, Moii, where you're going. These maps have been invaluable for us. When I started, they were not this defined. So we would run into waterfalls routinely when we only had the 5.
After dropping me off at KFBRP, Graham went home to finish preparing for tomorrow's hike. Katie, a graduate student and member of the Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project, is going over safety procedures with me as well as maps of the area that I will be traversing tomorrow. The Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project is a collaborative effort between the University of Hawaii, the State Department of Land and Natural Resources, and the Division of Forestry and Wildlife. They aim to promote knowledge, appreciation, and conservation of Kauai's native forest birds. Their current mission is focused on the ʻAkikiki, as their populations have dropped from 1,000 in 2010 to a staggering 40 individuals in present time. KFBRP has a 2-part plan. The first is to collect all ʻAkikiki egg, chicks, and adults they can find, and the second is to bring those eggs, chicks, and adults into conservation breeding to provide an insurance population against immediate extinction. Most people think of Hawaii as this place of sun and warmth. The Alakaʻi wilderness could not be more different. There, it rains pretty much every day, and with nighttime and early morning temperatures dropping close to the freezing point, hypothermia is a real concern should someone get lost. But for many on the team, it's all worth it for these birds.
I'm Justin Height with Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project.
Justin Height is the field supervisor at the Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project for over 8.5 years. His job includes working with the field crews, making sure that they can get in and out of the field safely, and that they know how to navigate and find the birds, as well as ban them. Coordinating and planning everything so that humans stay safe while helping critically endangered birds is a huge task. Dr. Callie Crampton is the project manager at Kauaʻi Forest Bird Recovery Project. That's exactly what she does.
So you can see, like, my life is like Tetris, trying to get everything to fit together so that we have the coverage we need to do all the ongoing nest monitoring that we need to do. So we need to have a constant presence in the field so we can be always updating whether a nest has laid or whether chicks have hatched or whatever yet, because all of our timing of the collections is based on the biology of the bird.
Callie keeps track of every team member using spreadsheets, but she also monitors the birds and their nests. Because of avian malaria, a disease transmitted by invasive mosquitoes, the ʻAkikiki populations have collapsed catastrophically in the last few years. Her goal is to identify and transfer all of them to conservation centers, where they'll be kept safe until their natural habitat has been restored.
In the future, what does it look like for them?
So if our egg collection goes well and if the mosquito trajectories continue the way they have been going, ʻAkikiki will be extinct in the wild this year. So, or at least there might be an ʻAkikiki out there, so not like technically 100% extinct, but as far as being able to be a functioning population that can breed and recover, they are already almost extinct in the wild. Like, there's just not enough of them to really rebuild from here, and we expect things to get a lot worse with the mosquito trends we are seeing. So rather than letting mosquitoes take them, we are taking them so we can put them in safety in human managed facilities where there are no mosquitoes. And it has to be done this spring for 2 reasons. First of all, we have much better success catching ʻAkikiki when they're in breeding mode and they're territorial and they're responding to playback. But also because if we let another fall go by, there might not be enough ʻAkikiki left to collect. So it's kind of a now or never.
Clearly, this conservation project needs to happen now. Meeting passionate scientists like Callie gives me hope that we will be able to put up a good fight for the survival of these rare endemic birds.
I think for me what keeps me going is the birds don't give up. They're still out there making their babies, finding their mates, getting their meal. They don't give up, so we can't. Like, we can't until the last bird does. And that's my daily thought.
I'm part of a media team that's been set up to document the ʻAkikiki conservation effort. We've already had several Zoom calls in the past 6 months, and this is our last chance to coordinate and finalize before heading up tomorrow. Juliana will be producing a short film called Realm of the Gods with Sterling and McKenna's help. We will share footage and assets of our respective projects, but Graham will be the main videographer for filming the birds in the wild.
Yeah, no, I'm really hoping that these cameras can work because I've just been hearing a lot about the weather conditions, and it's intense rain, intense cold, and I've heard this is where electronics come to die, so I want to be prepared.
Because sleeping accommodation in the field is limited, the plan, as it stands right now, is to have Graham and I hike up tomorrow. We will be with the KFBRP team for a week. Then, as we hike down, Juliana, Sterling, and McKenna will go up.
Bye! Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Today's stories are captured behind the lenses of cameras. Back in ancient Hawaii, however, stories and life lessons were preserved through song and dance. As a blessing for this project, the Ka'imi Hula Alau created a mele called Namano Eha. This hula describes 4 of Hawaii's endangered forest birds, including the ʻAkikiki.
Ai, Namano Eha.
In Hawaii, birds are seen as aumakua, or guardian spirits. Their feathers were highly valued by ancient Hawaiian nobility and meticulously crafted into various ceremonial items, such as feather leis, helmets, feather standards, and feather capes. Bird catchers would line branches of trees with sticky sap for honeycreepers that would land on them, becoming ensnared. Then, with utmost care, only 1 to 3 feathers from the neck, wing, or tail were removed before releasing the bird back into the forest. The intricate process of harvesting feathers meant that numerous birds, often exceeding 20,000, were required to produce a single feathered garment. These forest birds play a crucial role in shaping Hawaii's identity. Unfortunately, only 8 of Kauaʻi's original 24 species remain today. Preserving and protecting these remaining few is paramount, not only for the conservation of a unique part of Hawaii's natural heritage, but also for maintaining the cultural and ecological balance that these birds contribute to the islands.
Ai, e ho'oheno I nā manu eha.
So it's a gorgeous day today, but I guess the wind must have been bad enough to knock the pele nest down.
Just as feared, yesterday's unusual winds knocked down the pele nest the team was scheduled to collect tomorrow. Both chicks were killed and the parents have flown away. We're still heading to meet the rest of the team, but we're not sure of what's next.
Trails up here through these trees.
Up there?
The Alakaʻi Wilderness Preserve is a 9,000-acre secluded area at the very center of the island. It is administered by the state of Hawaii's Department of Land and Natural Resources. The journey to access the Alakaʻi Plateau requires passage through steep ridges separated by ravines and gullies. Moii Camp, where Graham and I are headed, is one of the most remote locations the KFBRP team has established for the ʻAkikiki conservation project. The camp is just steps away from a cliff that drops more than 1,000 feet down. It's incredible to think that there were 50-mile-per-hour winds here yesterday. I'm very lucky the weather was on our side, because this hike has been the longest and most difficult one I've ever experienced. As we approach Moii Camp, the first person we encounter is Justin as he's setting up for the night. We finally made it.
Yeah, you too.
Most of the equipment and food were dropped off by helicopter about a week ago. The cases were then hauled from the landing site to camp. I am grateful that others were willing to do this because now I have the tools I need to do my part in this project. As the day ends, everyone is beginning to settle down for the night. Some people will be sleeping in their own tents. Others will be sharing the communal tent that's a little further away from the edge of the cliff. As for me, because all sleeping spots were already taken, I was assigned to sleep in the tent where all the food and equipment is stored. The nights are cold here, so it's a good thing I came prepared. All the required equipment to collect the ʻAkikiki chicks was brought to the pele nest before it fell. Since everyone and everything is here, Justin thought it could be a great learning opportunity to practice egg and chick collection. ʻAkikiki birds build their nests high up in the crowns of trees, where predators cannot get to them, making the collection process difficult and risky.
Ooh, cool. Thank you. Okay, anything else I'm not thinking of before I come down?
Now that there are no other birds or eggs to collect, people will go scout the forest. I'm heading back to Moii Camp to grab some extra gear. Moii Camp was expanded and provisioned for this conservation project just a few weeks ago. Apart from satellite and occasional cellular reception, it is completely off the grid. rainwater is filtered and used for cooking and drinking. A solar panel was installed on the edge of the cliff, but it often fails and cannot really be depended on to charge batteries or electronic devices. When KFBRP is done researching and saving birds in the area, the camp will be dismantled and nothing will be left behind.
At night, we all gather around here, breakfast time, lunch, gather around, make some delicious hot chocolate, some tea, cook some eggs, cook some pasta, and just like sit around on these, get a bucket if you can grab one. Just eat, talk story, and talk about the progress of the day and what went on.
The forest is incredibly beautiful and covered everywhere in a thick, velvety moss. Even on camp, numerous birds can be heard and spotted fluttering across the sky. I have brought several different cameras and hope to catch a honeycreeper on film. Kauaʻi was once home to over 24 forest birds. Of the 8 that still remain, 3 are on the brink of extinction: the ʻAkikiki, the puaiohi, and the ʻAkikiki. The bird I'm following is an anianiʻau, the smallest Hawaiian honeycreeper in existence today. It's a very rare sight, and quite a challenge to film. These little forest birds are extremely fast and constantly on the move foraging for food, so getting a good shot isn't easy.
Nice. I just found an ʻAkikiki nest just downstream, the Pakele's re-nest.
Yeah?
She's banded aluminum orange, orange, orange.
Wait, what was her name?
Pakele.
Pakele.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Just found her nest just 5 minutes ago. I'm like buzzing right now.
The team is finally back together at camp. Based on today's findings, it was decided that the larger part of our group will be moving out north tomorrow morning to the upper camp. Graham and I will stay here and continue our work at Moii, alongside Brendan and Bo. This has been an amazing first day. Today, the weather is once again beautiful, and Graham has agreed to take me to Pig's Jaw, an area of the Alakaʻi Plateau he was scouting yesterday. It's a couple of miles to the southeast, and getting to it requires hiking through rough terrain. There's still a lot of water and mud everywhere, and the vegetation is dense, sometimes hiding big drops. Many have experienced mishaps on these trails and had to be rescued, or worse. ʻAkikiki eat insects and worms, which they find by pecking and pulling at the bark of snags and tree trunks of species such as ohia and olapa. They often favor tall trees that offer a lot of foraging trunk, so this is exactly where we are looking for them. They are usually seen traveling and foraging in pairs or in family groups. ʻAkikiki only produce a brood of 1 to 2 eggs per year because of the long juvenile dependency period. Like other Hawaiian honeycreepers, juvenile ʻAkikiki may stay with their parents for up to 3 months after fledging. Identifying them by sight is far easier than identifying them by sound, as ʻAkikiki sound much like the ʻAkikeʻe, anianiʻau, and Kauaʻi ʻamakihi.
this is kind of my technique for coming out here to this area. It's just super slowly walking around. It's pretty mild, it's flat. You just cruise around and hope that something reveals itself and then shoot.
The first bird we spot is the iconic ʻIʻiwi, with its bright scarlet feathers, black wings and tail, and long, decurved pink bill. We also see the aniani owl, my little friend from yesterday. The secretive and rare puaiohi. The ʻAkikiki, the second most endangered endemic Hawaii bird after the ʻAkikiki. The alapaio, with its long tail, which is regularly held up at an angle. The apapane, an important ohia pollinator. The amakihi, a honeycreeper that feeds on insects, nectar, and fruit. And at last, the bird we came to rescue, the ʻAkikiki.
There's a couple that keep flying up above our heads, so it's really cool. Saw a couple of i'i gathered around together in the distance out there. You see that Graham is out filming. He looks really happy right now. I can tell by the smile on his face. So yeah, everyone is just chilling and just been very calm and relaxing and appreciative and happy to be here with all these birds.
On this clear, calm day, the forest is filled with songs that have been sung for over 5 million years. Many of the now extinct Hawaiian forest birds were never photographed, filmed, or recorded. In a time where some of these ancient voices still sing, we have the opportunity to hear their song, ensuring that future generations know what these remaining birds look and sound like. I will never forget my day at Pig's Jaw, and its unusual name, derived from the topography of the plateau, which resembles a pig's jaw. Local hunters often roam these mountains, As a distinctive marker, they've placed a pig's straw at the junction of pig's straw to signify the location. This startling sight couldn't be in more contrast with how peaceful and beautiful everything is. Invasive goats and feral pigs are unfortunately everywhere in the forest these days, wreaking havoc on natural ecosystems by devouring and dispersing fruits of invasive plants like strawberry guava. The appetite of invasive goats also extends to rare endemic plants, further damaging the ecosystem. Additionally, pigs contribute to the decline of honeycreeper species by creating wallows that serve as breeding grounds for mosquitoes. In pre-contact Hawaii, the Alakaʻi was part of what ancient Hawaiians called Wau Akua, or Realm of the Gods. This was a very sacred place, rarely accessed by humans.
Finally made it. Finally made it back. Okay, I know Brendan's not going back until like 5:30ish, so I'm gonna get started on dinner.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill out and I'll help you with dinner.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing me around the area on the Alakaʻi. This was a really beautiful day to go out there.
Yeah, right? This was definitely one for the books. All 8 forest birds in a day. It's pretty good thing to do.
It's gonna be so close, up close and personal. That was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, well thank you. You're great company.
But there are a couple territories that we can get to that's not.
As night falls and everyone returns to camp, Brendan is setting up rat traps as they tend to roam at night in search of food.
What fluoresces under UV light?
Meanwhile, Graham is exploring the area for animal and plant species that are still unknown to science. He has brought his UV flashlight and I'm tagging along.
Look at how bright it glows.
Hang on, let me... Feels like Avatar in here.
Right?
I love that ruby pink. Under the glow of ultraviolet light, everything looks different. This helps biologists and conservationists see things they wouldn't normally see at night.
What was that? There's a rat. Look at the rat glowing.
Oh my god. Gotta shove a rat trap in there.
It's a Kauaʻi endemic.
Even though Graham's initial passion is for botany and rare plants, his knowledge of invertebrates is vast. Although this trip is to rescue a bird from extinction, endemic Hawaiian invertebrates constitute the vast majority of species that are now going extinct in the state.
Oh my god. We need to get my camera.
Is he something new?
It looks like it's Dorionychus raptor, but it's a little different and we're way out of Dorionychus range here.
Just like when he was filming the ʻAkikiki earlier today, Graham gets incredibly focused when he's in the presence of something rare, unique, or unknown. His passion is undeniably obvious and quite contagious. His photos are simply amazing, and I feel inspired by his work. So I know everyone else has gone to bed for the night, but I wanted to hear more about the Livermore, California story.
Yeah, so Livermore is where I grew up in the East Bay area in California, and grew up there, rode my bike around with my friends lots when I was younger, and as I got older, I went to college at University of Oregon, and I started getting really into botany, particularly rare plants and endangered plants. And sure enough, as I graduated college, I moved back from Oregon back to Livermore. It became apparent to me that there was actually tons of rare plants all around me in the Bay Area, even in Livermore. This one place in particular we used to call the Wasteland. It's one of these little abandoned fields where we used to ride our bikes. Turns out it's actually one of the rarest ecosystems, rarest ecologies anywhere in the world. The greater threat in California, especially in this area, is development. With, increase in people, there's this huge push for development, huge push for more houses or living spaces for people. And soon after I moved back to California, and I was just in the peak of my geeking out over plants phase over there, I realized that there was a 42-acre development proposed for this hill that's kind of in the middle of this flat land. I was like, hold up, like there's a ton of things here you guys aren't considering. So I went nuts photographing the rare plants that live there, and that's basically what we did. We kind of brought that to light, and we worked with this legal team, and after years of legal stuff, finally we won in the Supreme Court, which is pretty awesome, and our case set a precedence, and it changed how California is supposed to handle developments in the future, basically. Yeah, it's kind of it was a really special situation, really cool experience. And then that's kind of what got me into like thinking, oh, there is like a use for me, like wasting endless hours and gas driving around.
Graham's story reminds me that anyone, regardless of their background, holds the power to make a positive impact in their community. By channeling their strengths and passions, individuals contribute to the betterment of the places they and others call home. The animal and plant species found in Graham's local hometown are just as significant as the ʻAkikiki. If people take action on local issues, then collectively, we can set into motion collaborative efforts that can then have a global impact.
It's really sad. I mean, it's killing a life to save a life because they're very invasive and they're eating the birds alive and the eggs, so you do what you can.
Today, the Alakaʻi is living up to its reputation for being wet, very wet. Although these weather conditions make it difficult to see or hear ʻAkikiki in the wild, Brendan is leading us further down into Pigstraw in search of new individuals. The goal is to remove all ʻAkikiki to protect them from mosquitoes, but finding them on a day like today is like finding a needle in a haystack. We occasionally hear vocalizations that resemble those of the ʻAkikiki, but so far we've had no luck.
That people say is that the ʻAkikiki will switch between the upslurred and the normal note more than say like Ani will either keep doing the upslurred or keep doing the single note. Oh, okay. But that's like not like proven or anything, but that's one thing people say. And I don't know, ʻAkikiki just seem to like always just like be whispering until they fly, until like, because they're always so close together, and then when one flies off far, they'll be like chip chip chip, and then I was like, oh okay, but usually they're just like really kind of like gentle.
After unsuccessfully searching for more than 5 hours and covering a huge area of the plateau, Brendan has decided to take us to the nest he discovered a few days ago to see how things are going. The rain has receded, but we're still soaked to the bone. But that's not the concern right now. Once again, there are no ʻAkikiki in sight, which has everyone quite worried. After waiting almost an hour for one of the adults to return, Brendan has decided to peep the nest, which means looking inside of it via a camera attached to a long pole.
Died. It's just, they normally would be like kind of sitting up.
He's face down. What a shame. And the other egg is right there.
There's only one nest in there, but yeah, it does not look alive. And
At this very early stage of their lives, birds require the constant presence of their parents, both to feed them and to keep them warm. This chick and egg have died because their parents have abandoned the nest, giving the team an even smaller population to rescue. Although we don't know why this nest has failed for certain, multiple factors have played a role in the decline of forest bird populations. The displacement of native plant species by invasive counterparts has brought profound changes on the forest structure and composition. This alteration has been felt throughout the ecosystem, impacting animal habitats, foraging patterns, nesting sites, and hydrological dynamics. Historically, the landscape transformation began with the arrival of Polynesians, who cleared extensive lowland areas for agricultural purposes. The trend was accentuated by Westerners in the 1800s, exacerbating deforestation for ranching, developmental projects, and the exploitation of valuable timber species such as koa and sandalwood. Introduced predators such as cats not only prey on endemic birds, but also pass on these hunting skills to their offspring. Rats, the second largest threat to endemic birds, also impact honeycreepers in a variety of ways. They raid nests, consuming eggs, chicks, and nesting females, and they compete with native birds for food resources like fruit and invertebrates. The deadliest threat, however, comes in the form of avian malaria, transmitted by introduced mosquitoes. Although these endemic bird species spent millions of years evolving, they have not been able to evolve fast enough to create an immunity to the diseases carried by mosquitoes. Before human contact, these forest birds were found from the tip of mountains all the way down to the ocean shores. Since the arrival of mosquitoes, they have retreated to higher elevations to find protection in its colder climate. As climate change progresses, however, and temperatures rise, the birds have become trapped. Mosquitoes have since taken over the area, easily picking the birds off one by one. And many times, all it takes is one bite. Yesterday, the other team sent Brendan footage of a nest that was raided by rats. Today it's our turn to share the bad news of what we've discovered. Once again, plans around the collection of this nest will need to be cancelled. During our time here in the Alakaʻi, I've seen more dead ʻAkikiki than living ones. This is by far the worst season for failed nests.
There's good, there's bad. Dolly said everyone wants happiness, nobody wants pain, but you can't have a rainbow without a little rain.
Yeah, we're okay. I just wanted to call and let you know that the pig's jaw nest is dead. Exactly.
How you feeling this morning?
A1. Got a great ʻAkikiki video before 8:15 and stoked.
Nice.
Day's already made.
The Alakaʻi has become overrun with invasive species, quieting the songs that have been here for millions of years. Seeing firsthand the devastation, it's evident that invasive species must be removed. Although traditional rat traps are set around camp, a far more efficient method has been deployed wide-scale throughout the forest, the A24.
It's powered by CO2 right here, and it has a bait lure up here that's scented. And so the rats will kind of sniff out the bait and crawl up here. And then there's a piston that's powered by the CO2 that when it trips this little tripwire, it shoots out the piston. And
Bioacoustic devices have also been set up around the area that automatically records the birds as they sing. Researchers working with KFBRP are now training AI tools to distinguish and recognize the various species of birds that live here. This will in turn help the team identify where birds are so that they can be more efficient in searching the forest.
Here we go.
In an effort to combat avian malaria, the state of Hawaii recently initiated the Incompatible Insect Technique, or IIT. Avian malaria is only spread through the female southern house mosquito. Male mosquitoes do not bite and thereby do not transmit diseases to either birds or humans. The technique breeds incompatible male mosquitoes with female mosquitoes and results in the females only producing infertile eggs. This technique has proven to be very effective in other parts of the world, and hopefully its deployment is not too late to save the species here.
As someone who works with these birds every day, I've seen the impacts that the diseases spread by mosquitoes have on these species. Maimed limbs, missing eyes, even losing their bills because of lesions from pox, and the slow decline of even the largest and healthiest birds to malaria to the point where the birds can no longer move and eventually die. Malaria has had such an impact that just as in our history, we nearly lost our language, our native birds are losing theirs.
I believe that in order to tackle a lot of the hurdles that we are facing as society today, we have to trust in our scientists and in our people who are in the forest and taking care of these issues every day. And that sometimes as a community, we have to trust in each other and each other's expertise on these things in which they spend their whole life working on.
Extinction is not an option, not when we have this opportunity. And we do have no time to waste. So again, I strongly support the request to approve the final East Maui EA and authorize the chairperson to issue a finding of no significant impact for this important effort to save our birds and to save our aina. Thank you.
The importance of the ʻAkikiki in this community highlights the necessity of addressing local issues. Making a difference can look like many things. Starting a club, wearing a shirt can all be small ways to take action and make a difference. Getting exposure out to the community is crucial for positive change to happen. The passion the KFBRP team has is contagious and strengthens my own flame for environmental activism. Their work shows the significance of preserving all species, not just the popular ones. Everyone can do something just by managing their climate footprint and supporting climate-friendly initiatives locally, nationally, and globally. We need only to look to the birds for an example. They're out there. If their nest fails, they build a new one. If their mate dies, they find a new mate and they build a new nest. The birds keep going. And while the birds are finding a way to keep going, we will find a way to keep going. And if the message needed to be summarized in just a few words, this is what it would be.
And whatnot.
And thank you so much, Bo, for everything. I've had like an amazing experience here with everyone. So hopefully we'll have a community screening at the Kauaʻi Grove Mall. So I'd love to see everybody there, like Brendan, everybody. I'm so excited for it.
I know. Yeah. Good luck with all your editing. Thank you for everything. Yep. Great time with you guys. Yeah. Maybe see you soon. Yeah.
The time has come to return to the Wao Kanaka, the realm of humans. It's been raining all night, and there's a high chance the streams down below are swollen. Graham and I will hike down the southern trail to save time. Although we need to hurry, it's hard for us to say goodbye.
See ya.
Later.
It's imperative that we cross the Moii stream while it's still safe to do so. Otherwise, we'll be faced with a treacherous retreat back to camp, for which we may not have enough energy to safely complete.
How long do you think until we reach the stream?
Like 3.5 miles.
3.5 miles, okay.
This is a risky crossing, but hiking back to camp is even riskier at this point. Even the cameraman has to assist so I don't get swept away. My time in the Alakaʻi is now over, but for the rest of the team, the work continues. Since my return to Cincinnati, KFBRP continues to remove all ʻAkikiki eggs, chicks, and adults they can find and transfer them to conservation centers where mosquitoes cannot reach them. In March of 2023, I witnessed the extinction of the ʻAkikiki in the wild. But it's not over for this species just yet. There is still hope, as some 50 individuals continue to live and breed in captivity. Other endemic Hawaiian species, like the nene, have rebounded from the brink of extinction, and conservationists are hopeful that mosquito control methods such as IIT will one day allow them to restore the Alakaʻi Wilderness Preserve to its original state. Humans caused the ʻAkikiki problem, so humans need to fix it. It's a long shot, and the odds are against us, but turning a blind eye or giving up is not an option. There are other critically endangered birds that require energy, time, and resources. They will benefit from the lessons learned with the ʻAkikiki. So work in the field continues to keep the voices of native birds heard. But as important as the work in the field is, it's just as important to let people know about the fate of these birds. There are different kinds of outreach events, but the most effective way to bring about change is to share our urgent message with those who hold the power to pass laws and allocate funding.
To the crisis that is affecting our birds.
I think these birds need a voice and they deserve to be celebrated.
Hawaiian honeycreepers definitely keep this ecosystem alive.
A shift is happening. with youth at the heart of it.
I think this is important legislation because the native birds of Hawaii are so special. We are advocating to you, our legislators, to help protect and bring awareness of our native Hawaii forest birds by voting yes on the bill to celebrate Hawaiian Honeycreeper Day. Please support.
This exponential growth in awareness is not only happening in Hawaii, but at national and international levels. But as with all global movements, it begins in our own backyard, at the local level within our own community. And for the ʻAkikiki, these are the heroes keeping their song alive.